Hi everyone, this is Neeta welcoming you to Story of Strength. Every month we get you a new guest that talks about their beauty, their story, their strength and what keeps them going. And so this month our special guest is Karen Liva from Portland, Oregon. Welcome Karen.
Hello, thank you. I
So you
love your new place. I love your new place in San Fran.
thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really blessed here. The weather is nice and everything. Look at that. Look at the weather. I'm super excited to show you.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Good for you. Well done. Well done. You know what? You're beaming, your soul's radiating. It's fabulous.
Manifestation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what the soul does. It manifests.
So Karen, I'm super excited to have you. Tell me about, you like to go with Lava or you like to go with Karen? Because I can
I
go.
like LAVOIE. You know
I
me. I
love,
like LAVOIE.
I
Because
love Lava.
LAVOIE helps you smile. You just say LAVOIE.
Lava. And it's
LAVOIE.
French. And it's
Yes.
French. Wow. Lava. I love this name. So, so tell me who who Lava is and what does she offer?
Well, um, LAVOIE is a label. So, as Neeta knows, I'm a revealer, and we've had these conversations. So that was a nice setup. Thank you. I'm all about revealing to people the essence that they are, and we use soul, we use essence, we use consciousness, but it's that pristine expression, that which you can't touch, which you can't see. You know, it's that which came before everything. It doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an end. And so that's what I'm about. My whole life has really been on that journey. I didn't know it, always, but it really has been about truly knowing that I am that essence. And so I've been revealing that to people for many years, and it really is my greatest joy, if there's, if you will. And I'm also an acting coach, and it's really through the acting that I really discovered the honesty of the essence that we are, because acting is not about acting. um, when people come to me, I say, no acting, please. What I'm
No
doing is
accent.
helping, no acting. Um, it's about really going into the essence that you are, and that essence is unlimited. That essence doesn't have fear or stress or worry, and because that essence is truly can manifest anything, when you're accessing that as a so-called actor, then you could take on all the different layers and programmings that humans have and be very, very real with it without it affecting your life. So if I'm going to be Sharon can have worry and stress and anger and hate and love and jealousy and all these different human programs running. And
Right.
yet Karen's not affected by any of those. So it's really exciting because I get to share that with my acting clients, and with the people who come to me as what used to be labeled a life coach, and people still, say life coach. But I'm a revealer, because it's not just about life, because life is what takes place within the matrix. And I want to help you be free of the matrix programming and express a soul. It's not a spiritual thing. It's not about religion. It's just really just knowing the truth that you are. And it resonates with the listener because you're like, oh, I do know that. And it resonates with you because that which you truly are is going, yes, I know that. So it isn't this complicated spiritual, religious context or narrative. It's really to thy own self true, so to thy own soul true. So yeah, you can tell I get pretty excited about it.
Wow. It's really, I like the word revealer. And I like, once you told me, we were in, I think, our coaching section session together or our acting session that, that is our spiritual coaching session also. And you told me, Neeta, mind thinks and soul knows.
Exactly.
Tell me more about it.
Exactly.
And I still remember those words. I still remember those words, Neeta, soul knows. And when I ask you about, things, and you said, Neeta, soul knows. You don't have, when you say, I don't know, that's coming from mind. That your mind,
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen when I go to San Francisco. I don't know if it's going to help with my business or not. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I don't know. But when I let that I don't know go, I just knew what was there and it manifested for me. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. So, and that's so true. When people say, I don't know, that's the mind
that's the mind.
running interference with the soul essence going, I know, I
I
always know. I always know. So when you just say, I know, it's not fake it till you make it. It's you're saying, I know, and then then the soul reveals it in the timing that it knows in that moment to reveal it. So you can't force soul to reveal something to you. It's not like rubbing a crystal ball. Soul knows, yeah. Soul knows, and some would say it's like in divine timing. Once again, I'm not saying divine, but I'm not talking about religion, spiritual, that sort of thing. It's just it's a word for me to say it's not time according to a clock or a calendar or the future. Soul is the moment, not the now, but the moment. And the mind is a program. So if any of you have seen the movie The Matrix, the mind is a program, and we get programmed, and the mind just runs rampant and tells us these stories that are fearful and lesser than, and oh, this is going to be this horrible thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know, so do I want this or I want that? It's the mind that makes you go this or that, oh my gosh, I have all these doubts, I have all these questions. That's the mind controlling you. Yeah.
Right. And our whole journey, whether it's a journey in whichever field that we are, whole journey is to reveal the soul, or
Yes,
allow the soul to reveal itself. Like we can
exactly.
allow it, the
Yeah, yeah.
creating a space at least.
Well, yes and no, but I know what you mean. Soul doesn't need a space, but I know what you mean. Soul already is, if you will, but it's not is, but it just already is, because there's no place soul isn't. But the mind and all of these programs and subconscious programming that is part of this experience that we're having, and it's not a mandatory that we stay in it. We eventually realize that where did this belief come from? Because beliefs are programs. Belief and what you know are two different things. Belief says, well, I learned this, this, and this, and this, and so therefore I believe. Or some people say, well, I have blind faith. Well, soul doesn't require that you have blind faith. Soul is just it's gonna let you know in that moment what is there for you, because at that moment you're expressing that soul. So you're not controlled by the labels that I'm a human, that I'm a female, that I'm an actress, that I'm a life coach, that I'm this, that, the other thing, that I'm a daughter, da 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 da. None of those things control me as soul. As soul, I'm soul. I don't get caught up in labels.
So
And yet I still live it. I can live in this world. I have an idea where you're going. There's a saying, and I know it's a religious saying, or and spiritual saying. I'm in this world, but not of it. Okay, that's what happens when you start just knowing that you are soul. You're in this, but you're not controlled by it.
you are in the matrix, you are in the program, but you are
Well,
not.
you're not. No, you're not in a program. You're in a reality, but you're not in the matrix reality. Even though you see all this stuff going on, you're still soul essence expressing, and if there's other people that are being controlled by the matrix, you're not affected by it. That doesn't affect you unless you have the program that comes up. So as an example, say somebody comes up and says to you,
I have a question. What do you
Sure.
think
Yeah.
about when there is like when you do not listen to the soul? There are people who say something else and do something else. So means their soul wanting to manifest, but they are not listening. They're not allowing. So how does those people come across? Are they angry? Are they mad? Are they frustrated people because they are not allowing what's truth for them to be revealed? They're suppressing it. So I think they are becoming frustrated. What do you think?
Well, all of those things you mentioned are programs, and so they're definitely not expressions of soul. So the soul gets suppressed. I would say more that it's like you pull a curtain on a window.
Yeah.
So the window's still there and the outside's still there. It didn't go anywhere, but you pulled it so you can't see it. So you're not experiencing it because you closed the curtain on the window. So soul is always there, and it's like this is something that people listening will relate to. Have you ever just known, and then you didn't trust, and you didn't go with that, and then you're like, I knew it, 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 I knew it. Darn it, I knew it.
Yeah.
That's because the programming that you have snuck in and goes, oh no, you don't have anything to prove that. That's too risky. Everybody else is telling you not to do it. And so the person buys into that instead of going with what I just know. Knowing what you know doesn't need validation. And we're so taught as human beings that we require validation. That somebody needs to tell you, yes, that's a good decision. Go
And
for it.
and yes, you are beautiful. And somebody
Yes.
needs to tell you, yes, you're gorgeous. And this is the story of I think our womanhood, because we always need somebody to tell us until we get empowered enough to listen to our soul, because we are whole. We don't need
Yes.
outside approval or
Absolutely. And so here's the thing, we don't get upset with ourselves. It's just that you finally know. And when anything comes up, let me kind of give an example of what a program is. If all of a sudden you're angry because you heard something, that means that you have the program anger that's running you in that moment. And so how do you get rid of that anger? First of all, you go, I see you and I recognize you as a program. And you're not my truth. You're a program that's been triggered in me. And if you decide that you don't want that anger at that moment, you can say dissipate. That's the power of alchemy. I'm an alchemist, I'm a revealer. So alchemy means, an example is like, it's a foggy day, really foggy. You get that in San Francisco. And then the sun comes out and the fog dissipates. So as soul, when you say dissipate, that's soul saying, I'm taking that program away. I'm taking
the
that program out of your reality.
and revealing the sunshine.
Yes, the essence that you are. Yes.
This is,
So
I
if
love the
anger,
word. I love when you use the word dissipate. It's like a modern mantra. It's like in India we chant Om Om. It's because we want to dissipate that fact or that thought that's coming in, because that Om mantra is a whole in itself. So what it does, it's when you chant it, it builds those chords in, brings something in a harmony. So whole body gets in the harmony, and that's how we do. When you did that dissipate thing, I love it. It's like saying Om, because
it is exactly. You know what? You're absolutely right. I talked to my acting class about this last night. See, soul is made up of 5 different elements. You have earth, water, fire, oxygen, and ether. I'm not
yes,
talking about etherical, I'm talking about ether. And ether is sound and light. The true sound and light, not love and light that people talk about. Sound and light. So when I'm speaking as soul, therefore what you hear is sound. When a person is speaking as a controlled puppet in the matrix, when you're using programs of fear or hate or rage or doubt or judgment, blame, guilt, what you hear is noise. That's noise. That's not sound, it's noise. So when Neeta's talking about the Om, I'm totally in agreement. When you have the Om sound of soul, and everybody's is different, and you use that, it's the same thing as saying dissipate, Neeta. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Because Om is actually, the soul is whole, you know, it's like when you do the Om thing, you know, you do this thing, but really it's that you have a whole, there's, in the Matrix, when you're controlled by the programs, your soul, which is a circle, it gets open and it's the omega sign. Okay, it's like, looks like an omega sign. I don't know, do this way. Everybody knows what an omega sign looks. It looks like an upside down horseshoe. So if your soul is open because it's being triggered by all the programs in the Matrix, then you're susceptible and your soul isn't in charge. But when your soul is in charge, the soul isn't in charge of anything, soul is soul. But when you're whole, that's the Om. 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 Whatever it is in the moment. In the moment, as soul, you'll know what it is. And it's not a certain pitch or a certain da-da-da-da-da. You have to do it this way. You have to do it that way. It's not something you have to practice because it's the natural expression.
Exactly.
The pristine expression of soul. So that's so perfect that you brought that up because I talked to my actors about that last night. You know, if you want, instead of saying dissipate, if it's more, you know, what you just know, you want to just make your Om fabulous.
So the lesson is that if some people don't want to do Om and they are really caught up in this negative whirlpool of minds, you know, that matrix.
Yes, the mind runs stories. The mind will run stories. Thinking, thoughts. Thinking,
oh my God.
Thinking.
My mind runs like, I don't know, 1,000 miles per hour. And sometimes I just meditate and I just watch like these thoughts going over like ping pong, like, okay. Right. But if I become the part of that matrix, if I become the part of that program, then I am going ping pong like this.
Yeah, like sometimes they call it monkey mind. Sometimes they call it monkey mind.
Monkey mind. Exactly.
Yeah. So here's something else. If dissipate doesn't work for somebody, you could say soul heal. Same thing. Okay. Soul heal. Some people. But everybody. I give out different things because some people, different things are going to resonate more with them. So when I say soul, I'm not talking about in the spiritual religious context, just so your listeners know. There's also
5 things from the nature. We're talking about those 5 elements from the nature. That's what the soul is made of.
Well, that's what it expresses as.
That's what it expresses as, yes.
Yeah, you know, we want to, you know, and the most pristine aspect of it, that's what we can share because that's why we're so connected to the earth. And the earth is not the ground. The earth is not soil. The earth is not dirt. Those are matrix contaminated words. It's earth. And it's not Gaia. It's not Mother Earth. Just telling you, it's earth. That's the pristine truth of what it is. It's earth.
It's earth.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So if somebody is caught up with that matrix, the program of a mind, then what they have to do is catch up the first word that comes to them. Like, are they worried? Are they anxious? Are they, whatever the program it is that they're running, and catch up that word. That's what I learned from you. Catch that word and say, fear, dissipate. Or anger, dissipate. Frustration, dissipate. And believe me, some people who don't want to sit and do 3 times Om, they don't have that much time. This is a modern mantra. Just say anger, dissipate, and it's going to work like Om, right?
Exactly. And here's the thing, if they don't know what the emotion is, because a lot of you're attuned to your emotions because I worked with you as an acting coach to get you to be able to identify your emotions. If you don't know what the emotion is, that's okay. Just say whatever it is, dissipate. And it's not the mind saying that. That's you as soul saying whatever it is, dissipate. And it might show up then because the mind wants you to be like, oh my gosh, what's the emotion? What's the emotion? What is it? I don't get it. Oh, this isn't going to work. See, the
That's
mind
the
will trick
mind.
you into all of
That's
that.
the mind who is telling you, I don't know what the emotion is. Because soul
Yeah.
knows. When you just pause, when you just pause, you
Yeah.
know what kind of matrix you are stuck into.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Exactly. So here's the thing I want people to know. The anger might show up 300 times more. It doesn't mean that it didn't work. Anger is attached to so many different storylines that are being run by you every day. I mean, you watch on TV, you
yeah,
read a book, you watch a movie, whatever it is, and there's anger. There's anger underneath
and
it.
settling in us. And it
Yes.
comes out, you know.
So it could come up and come up. It doesn't mean that it didn't get dissipated, but it's like, it's kind of like cleaning your house. If you just clean your living room, that doesn't mean your whole house is clean. Okay, so that just showed up in the moment, of course.
So
Soul gave me that to share. So it's gonna come up. It's gonna come up. And so when it comes up, what I do is I'm like, yay, thank you for the reveal, because then I can dissipate it. So I don't get frustrated with myself. I don't get angry at myself. I don't get judgmental at myself. Like, oh my gosh, I got angry again. No, that's the mind wanting to trick you to re-anchor the anger, the frustration, and you just say frustration dissipate, anger dissipate. So this isn't that you're going about fixing yourself. This doesn't mean I have to get up every day and fix myself. No, it's how soul expresses and is there, if you will, to assist you to just get yourself free of all the programming that's conscious, subconscious. It's there, and the mind wants you to become obsessed with finding them, and then what happens is you get caught up in that obsession. So now you have another program running. So we've been taught through spiritual and all this stuff, and I know I went through that, and I found my way out of it, and I realized that was just a bunch of programming. And I'm going to take the spiritual journey in it. So I want to get to this is you don't need to fix yourself, your soul, but you have all these programs interfering with it. So all we're doing is deleting those programs. Yes. Because you already are pristine expression, and you let in these programs because that's just the way that we're raised. But now you know that there's programs, and you can just, every time they come up, you dissipate it, you dissipate it, you dissipate it, you dissipate it. Somebody comes up and says something to you, and all of a sudden you're triggered. You know that that's your program. And they wouldn't be able to trigger you if you didn't have it in you. Exactly. So it's, to me, they're like, thank you for being the messenger, and I'm going to, like, you know, it doesn't mean that you let somebody be, it doesn't mean, I just want to say, what's that?
It's a hard work.
Well, I don't want to say that it's hard work. See, that's the mind wanting you to say that.
Okay.
Okay.
Every time you want to come out of that program, that matrix program that you're built into, whether it's a fight, frustration, whatever that is, it's like it's so glued, it's so juicy, so yummy that you want to be in that program. You want to do all that, and then you say, oh, okay, now I'm good. Okay, but now it still doesn't feel good. I wish I had come out of the matrix before I had, you know.
What that's called is instant gratification, and we were raised to want instant gratification. It felt so good to get angry. Okay, that's instant gratification, but then you feel worse because you're now anchored into the matrix that much more. So yes, when it comes up and you're just like dissipate, 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 because what's happening is it's the iceberg. Okay, so you're getting the tip of the iceberg when you say dissipate, but underneath, you know, you got that whole big, you know, however big it is. So you're going to start dissipating everything that's underneath the water line of that iceberg. So that's why I say, when you say dissipate, don't be surprised if more of it comes up, because what it's attempting to do is re-anchor itself. But you just say dissipate, dissipate every single time. You just say dissipate, dissipate. I see you, dissipate. I like saying I see you because it's like, Yeah, I see you. Dissipate. You know, I see you. You're not going to slide this by me. I got it. Dissipate. And so that just makes it more fun to say dissipate. I'm not going to say that there aren't times, I want to be honest with the audience, is that there's times that it rips me. I mean, I sit and it's just like, it's shredded me because, but it's like, I'm not buying into it. I'm dissipating it as it comes up. I'm dissipating. So when it comes up, if there's something that you need to address, don't buy into it, but let it reveal itself and you dissipate it as it reveals. I'm not saying just say dissipate and then bury it underneath a rug somewhere. That's not what I'm saying.
And is a grief is also a program, grief?
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
a strong emotion and we have to experience it in order to come out of it.
Not necessarily. For, you know, everybody's going to be different. For me, now that I know what it is, I can just say dissipate and I don't need to experience it. But I would say, yes, perhaps in the beginning, yes, it's because it's real to you because it's a program, it's a story that is very active in that person's reality. So it's very real. I'm not saying this isn't real in your reality. I get it. It is real in your reality because it's a story that has been energized in your reality by the Matrix. And so, yes, it could be gut-wrenching, but as you're gut-wrenching through it and, you know, a big roll of toilet paper, you're dissipating as you're doing that. You're just saying dissipate, dissipate, dissipate. The other thing that I was going to share is you can all, there was one more thing I wanted to tell people that they could say is just, I know so. Because that's the soul going, I know so. I know so. So the soul is saying, I know. And so it's dissipating it. So there's also that. It works the same as dissipate or om. But you can say, I know so.
Okay, so whenever the grief comes up, the grief brings sadness.
Yep.
Grief brings
anger, frustration, resentment, guilt, shame, doubt, regret, all kinds of things.
Grief will bring them.
Those are ones that are really attached to it.
Yeah. So I'm saying about grief because last year I lost my brother. 3 years younger than me, very young, handsome, you know, 32-year-old. Just lost it, and it was really it was like experience, like he was sick, so he was hospitalized for a few years, so we weren't being able to see it. But then once he was gone, boy, the grief came so majorly, and plus that corona time hit, so it became like universe is testing you from every corner.
Well, it's interesting you said universe, because the universe is the Matrix. Soul is not the universe. The Matrix is the universe. So when people say I turn it over to the universe, you just handed it over to the Matrix, and the Matrix just put little puppet strings on you and like, that's what the Matrix is doing to you. So
you send your manifestation into the universe, how are they going to come back to
it's
you?
not into the, you don't bring it into the universe.
Law of attraction. Then where do you bring it?
Well, you don't bring it anywhere because there's only the moment. Okay. If there's a word that you're seeking, soul is cosmic. Okay. Universe, think of a box, you know, Pandora's box. Okay. That's universe with all the problems in it. So you don't want to bring it into the universe because you don't even want to stay in the universe. You're cosmic because you're soul.
That's
okay.
deep. That's
that is. but you know that you know that. You do know that. And it resonates. And so the thing with grief, we're programmed to believe that we're supposed to grieve when somebody passes. We're programmed to believe that we're supposed to be sad. We're programmed to believe that, you know, and so it's like I've said to people, don't walk up to somebody and go, I'm sorry that so-and-so died. All you did was trigger them to go into grief, into sadness, into sorrow, into suffering. you just trigger them. You were just the person that came up and just like flipped that switch on, and you were used by the matrix to trigger all of that emotion and all of those programs in that person. So you know, it's when you truly know that there's no such thing as death. I mean, literally, death is a program. I mean, it's been, you know, reinforced for eons of time. So we do hear stories about people who are like 300 or 400 years old, you know, but they're not going to go out on mainstream media because, you know, they're going to be bombarded, you know, because it's like they're not going to be able, you know, it's like they don't have to prove to the world that they're 300 or 400 years old. They don't have to prove it. It doesn't matter. They don't care whether the rest of the world knows they're 300 years old, 400 years old. It doesn't matter. If they don't want to know that, that's their issue. Okay? So we don't have to die. And when somebody does go through that program, most people have a lot of grief because they had unfinished business. Now, some people might not want to hear that. I was very fortunate. When my mother transitioned, I had dissipated, alchemized every single program between my mother and I, that character called my mother. So my mother and I were soul to soul. We weren't, you know, soul and a character. Every time I was around my mom and she pushed, you know, if something triggered in me, it was like, okay, thank you. Thank you. And it's like every time that I was able to dissipate that, alchemize it, it's like it ended up being soul with soul. That's called a fellowship. Fellowship. Soul has a fellowship, not friendships. Friendships are demanding and have attachments and strings attached and needing us to them. So when my mother transitioned, I helped her transition. And it was beautiful. As she giggled and she oohed and she awed and she cooed. And it was just like, it was like very calm for me. I didn't have any unfinished business. I didn't have anything that I hadn't said to her. I didn't have anything that I coulda, woulda, shoulda had, you know. And so for a lot of people, she didn't want a funeral or a wake or any of that. And I had people that were furious at me. And her and I knew it's just like the only reason people usually want to come to those things because they feel like they didn't, you know, have completion. And so it's like those people need to have the completion on their own because it's like that's not what my mom wanted and it wasn't necessary, you know. So I hope this is making sense to people because I know there's the appearance of a lot of people, you know, transitioning at this time because of COVID. And it's when we haven't resolved things like I wish I would have said this or I wish I would have, you know, done this or, you know, so you could still address those things even though the person's gone. You can simply dissipate that because it's a story running. The mind is running that story in you, telling you, you should have said this. And it's making you feel guilty. So when you feel guilty, then you feel really sad because it's like, oh my God, it's like, I can't fix it now. So the mind runs those stories. So I want to share something, Neeta. You know how I say there's no past, there's no future? I would like to share that with your audience. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, you had a question first? This is your program.
The two magnificent, beautiful women talking about soul manifestation. So that's quite interesting.
Thank you. So, Neeta knows about this. A lot of people say, well, how do you get centered? Do I need to meditate? You know, do the Om 3 times? Do I need to do visualization? Do I need to listen to stuff? That's the mind wanting to make what you are extremely complex, and it doesn't get you as the essence that you are expressing. It actually is just the mind spinning you around, and it's like it's going to show you this beautiful light and all these things, and it's going to trick you into thinking that that is the essence that you are. It's a trick. It's a trick that the mind plays on you. So it's this simple, and I do this just because it's fun. It's not necessary. It's just the actress acting coach in me. So For those of you listening, and for Neeta at this moment, it's as simple as this. There's no past. There's no future. There's no now. Now is time. There isn't the present. There's no mind. No emotions.
Wow.
Quiet, isn't it?
And
Just
that's
absolutely quiet. I didn't like try to get out of my mind. Here's something that's very important is
so this is what you do in order to be grounded. This is what
well, it's the word grounded means, okay? Because remember I said it's not ground, it's earth. So you're earth because you're soul. So at that moment, you're definitely earthed. You're definitely earthed, okay? Because you're expressing as soul. So here's the thing, mind, body, soul. That's what we're taught, mind, body, soul, okay? The true order of that is body, soul, mind. That way it's body. Think of it in three things. I don't want to like flip somebody off, so I'm not going to use my fingers that way. You have body, then you have soul, and you have mind. So you have soul in the middle, and soul's not in charge, but it appears that soul's in charge. But the thing is, a soul, then your mind is sound mind, and you have a sound body, okay? Because then the soul actually is healing the body all the time, because the soul actually is expressing as a physical body. So then, you know, you don't have illnesses, you don't have diseases or any of that stuff, because the soul is actually, you know, taking care of this physical expression. And as a soul, so-called in charge, because it doesn't need to be in charge of anything, then the mind, what you actually hear is the information is coming into you. It's the soul, but we hear it, so we want to think it's our mind. But it's really the soul.
Yeah, that's
that
what
we hear.
I wanted to know. How would you differentiate that that's the mind and that's the soul?
Because if it's talking to you, if it's soul, then you just know. There's no, you're not off center with it. You're not confused by it. You're not having what people would call negative emotions. You're not having any of that, okay? Even when, it's not always about having negative emotions. You're like super happy and it's like, oh, yay, I'm shooting up heroin. This is amazing. I feel amazing. No, that's not soul. You know, because some people say, well, I'm happy, but are you happy because you're buying into the programming of the Matrix?
Yes,
because you basically sold your soul to the Matrix in order to have this illusionary happiness. So I would like to put out there, this is not about be positive, be positive, be positive, because that is just really gonna wreak havoc in your life, because within the Matrix, there's positive and negative. And if you're trying to be positive all the time, then the negative is going just as active as the positive. Soul does not have positive or negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole be positive, no. Don't be positive or negative. Okay.
You were telling, like, in our holy scripture Gita, that's what the essence says, is just be. So allow your soul to manifest, you know, give your mind. That's what we are talking about. And I tell you, I became more spiritual when I started being religious. I was born as a Hindu. I was, you know, taught all Hinduism all my life. But then when I really came out of this matrix of Hinduism and Muslim and, you know, Christianism, it's just basically I became a very better spiritual person, because I was not part of program.
Well, spirituality is a program.
Yeah,
because spirituality says these are the things that you experience, and this is the way that you should live your life. You are a soul. Your soul. That's it. Your soul expressing. You don't need spiritualism to define it, because what's not spiritual then is unacceptable. So that's a trap. Spiritualism has it's a label, and it has a definition, where soul doesn't have a definition. Soul doesn't have a label.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
What I'm gonna say is, let's talk a little bit of you know, uh, coming from the experience of our beauty industry, our Hollywood or Bollywood industry. What do you think, where beauty lies, and is beauty only skin deep?
well, that was like a bell for ding. um,
And it's a reminder that we have 9 more minutes.
okay. Obviously, um, the saying beauty is from inside. Okay, there's no inside outside when it comes to soul. So here's the thing. Neeta's products are made from earth. They're made from earth, water. Okay? So they're made from the essence. There's a five elements, so they're made from elements. So yes, that's beneficial to the expression that is the 5 elements. So yes, that's going to be fabulous. But let me tell you what, if you're putting if you're putting, things that are not good for your body into it, I don't care how much Anita stuff you put on your skin, eventually all the chemicals and yes, it's chemicals. All the chemicals, the toxins that you put into your body are going to show up, because as soul, you wouldn't put all of that into your body. That's just the bottom line of it. As soul, you know what should go into this physical form that is based out of, earth, water, fire, oxygen, sound, and light. Okay, all of those things come from the foods that we have, and that sort of thing. So,
People of Ayurveda is our body, or not just body, anything in this universe that you can see physically is made up with 5 elements.
yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Human body is also made up. Human body is part of the matrix.
It's cool. When you're when you're conscious, you start acknowledging that the body is actually soul expressing, you're going to be amazed how much your body heals itself. It's always been able to heal itself, but we've been told otherwise, and we've been treating it completely from a programming place of experiencing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell me, what was your experience in Hollywood to work like, and what brought you to Portland?
I didn't go to Hollywood to be an actress. I went there because I did modeling, and I loved modeling. It was so fun because I designed clothes and everything. So I really enjoyed that. And one of the top agencies gave me an interview, not knowing that I wasn't 5'9". And they're like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "You're the one that called me." They're like, "Oh, you did not tell us that you weren't 5'9". And so, they suggested that I go into the acting side of things so I could still do the modeling, what's called lifestyle modeling. And so when I went into that, I kind of checked some things out, and it's like, well, let's fake like you're a tree and like you're a rock. I'm like, yeah, no. And so I ended up going to a place where it was more like bringing myself into it, but it was really abbreviated. And so, how did I like Hollywood? It's when I went there, it's what I would say is, don't sell your soul. And there was a lot of times that people wanted me to sell my soul, and I was like, no. I want to be able to get up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and like that person. So it's true. That there is that they want you to sell your soul at a certain time.
Where that power to say no came from?
I just knew to say no. It's just like, no. I just knew to say no. It's like, you know, I just like knew it's like, I'm not a product. I'm not a piece of meat. You can't I could feel the manipulation. It's like, you know, like, oh, you're never going to work in this industry again if you don't want to do this. And I'm like, fine,
Yeah.
bye-bye. You know, but I still worked, you know, so it's like, they really attempt to manipulate you because they really feel like you know, you're naive. And yes, I'm not, I have innocence, but not naive. There's a difference. I have innocence. Okay. And so they wanted to feed off of that innocence and attempt to make me believe that I was naive and that they'd be able to manipulate me because they're superior to me and I should worship them and I should be so honored to be in their presence. No. So, you know, I had a good time. I ended up here because my grandmother was 90 years old. She was in great health, you know, but she was living on a farm, 165-acre farm. So she's not around anyone. And I was just kind of like, I could kind of hear in her voice that, you know, that's got to get lonely after some time. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go and be with her. And I'm so glad that I did because boy, was she connected to the earth. She would get up every morning and look out her, you know, she had an enclosed back porch because it's on a farm, you know, and she'd look out over the property and she'd just be like, hello, morning. Hello, flowers. Hello. Oh, dear. She was just so, it was really wonderful. You know, that really, I'd always loved going there as a child and as an adult. And it was just like, it was nice to get to a place. It was so pristine. And like one day I got up and it just snowed. And that's when you went out and it was that deafening quiet. And it's like, all there was sound. There was no noise. It was just like this blanket of white and everything was glistening. And it's just like,
Wow.
so,
Reminded my grandparents' farmhouse in India. It was the same kind of experience.
yeah. You know, it's like, you know, farmers obviously have a very deep connection with the earth or they wouldn't be farming.
Yes.
You know, I'm not saying big corporations, you know, but you know, this is, you know, they go and they invest their life into this farm and, you know, that's the small farms, 165-acre farm nowadays wouldn't, you know, do anything. But I am happy it got converted into an organic, they grow organic fruits and vegetables and everything there, and they had trees and an orchard and everything there, so they kept it. And my grandmother had beautiful flowers. Oh my gosh, it just, you know, she was like amazing. And so they're selling those flowers, and they've added to it, but have they kept everything? It was kind of like, oh, do I really want to know what happened? And so I finally like researched it after my mom had passed away just to make sure that she'd been, you know, compensated for everything. And it's like, they turned it into an organic farm. So it was just like, oh, it's so nice that that essence is still there and still, you know, being able to express. So it's really nice.
Yeah. Well, LAVOIE, our conversation can keep going, but I know we are short on time. So I have this round. It's called rapid fire round. I'm so enjoying this conversation, and you look gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting red because it's like 90 degrees in my house. So I didn't want to run the air conditioning. Woo.
You look gorgeous. You look gorgeous, by the way, and you lost so much weight.
You always do. You always do. You use your products, and you know you're in San Fran. You're happy. You're glowing. Your soul is just like radiant. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much, LAVOIE. The rapid fire round is I'm gonna give you some program, some word from Matrix.
Okay.
And we're gonna change it a little bit, and you're gonna have to unprogram those for me.
Okay, I was going to say dissipate.
Yeah.
Very good. We'll do this for all of your listeners. Yay, this is going to be wonderful.
Okay, so every they're gonna be like words like
We'll just go with it.
Let's just say balance. That's the first word for you.
Balance, dissipate, because balance means this. So balance is a duality word. So we don't want balance. We want centered, not centered as in this, but we want centered. So balance, dissipate.
Okay. Refreshed.
Dissipate. So refresh means it means you take something old and you want to make it new. But in the moment, there's no such thing as old. So there's only the moment.
Regeneration.
Regeneration?
Regeneration, like regenerating.
Like regenerate your skin cells? Is that what you're talking about?
Huh?
Okay. So regenerate, dissipate. As soul, you just thought of every moment it's fresh, it's new. So it's not regenerating, but you know, your products, what they do is they have the food. They have the food that this expression called the soul really enjoys. Okay?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well.
Well.
No, it's
Okay.
a wellness. It's the wellness well.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I just had to have fun with that. So, well, so does well have an opposite? Does that mean sick? So well has that if I'm not well, then I'm sick. So in the moment, wellness and sickness doesn't exist in the moment as soul. So I'm not saying don't use the words, because eventually, you know, we're not going to need words. We just know what's going on with the other person. So I'm not saying don't use words. If the word wellness has a trigger for you, if you have a fear of not being well, then you have a trigger on that. So we say wellness, dissipate, well, dissipate, sickness, dissipate, disease, dissipate, cancer, dissipate. They're programs. They're programs.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome. So those are the words that I had for you. So Liva, one more last thing that I want to ask you is, it's completely, I just had it and I lost it now. Oh yeah, about the acting, your acting coaching. So the reason I really was fascinated with your acting coaching classes, and I took those because in India we have this Natya Shastra, which means the book of dance, the Natya Shastra, and in that we are told 9 emotions that human body go through multiple times on these 9 emotions, and we dance through those 9 emotions. Those 9 emotions can be are disgust, sad, fearful, happiness, laughter, romance, and da da da. So these 9 emotion, and so as part of when I was learning this art of dance in India, they were teaching these emotion and how to express them. So if it's a happiness, you have to express it fully on your face, that you're happy and you're dancing. And in your dance and your storytelling, when the sadness comes or when anger comes, you should be able to express that. And that makes the complete Natya Shastra, the complete dance, when you are involving your emotion with your action. So when I found out your coaching classes, I felt the same way. I felt like I found somebody here who can teach me all these emotions and to work with all these emotions, because I was looking to deepen my knowledge and see where it landed me to you. And all the you gave me one time this thing to dialogue, remember the dialogue and express it.
Yes, a monologue, yes.
Alice, that was my role as Alice. Boy, I cried because second time, third time when I said that, it felt like it was coming from soul, and it felt like my soul wanting to say something, and I almost burst into tears. And that's what that coaching class did to me. So I want to tell my users, my followers, that it's not some kind of acting class, is not some kind of fancy, like, oh, you're going to be an actor now. It's about turning in and being and witnessing your own emotions and just being in touch with that. And that's what it did to me. I mean, and so I would love to do it more and more, because it really puts me in touch with my pattern from India that I learned about the expressing the emotions, expressing the expression.
So you mentioned laughter. Laughter is the soul expressing. That's the soul expressing laughter. Laughter is that pristine expression of
So
soul.
when you laugh, you cannot be ugly. You always have to be, because you
Well,
are told.
when you're doing pure laughter, I'm not talking about sarcasm or being mean. When it's just pure laughter, that is the soul expressing.
And that's the real beauty.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Well, Liva, I had so much fun talking to you, so much to learn. I felt like I got one session for free.
Well, thank you. You know, Neeta, um, you're such a joy. You really are. And thank you. Thank you for asking me to be here, to be able to share with people. Please feel free to contact me, people. I work with people all over the world. I've been working with people via Skype. Because Zoom seems to be a bit tricky sometimes. But I've been working with people, you know, over Skype ever since Skype came out. So you don't have to live in Oregon. And so the only thing is basically you have some understanding of English. And I can assist you, you know, with the revealing, with the acting, because acting is really not about acting, but if it's acting you really want to, you know, journey into, if you're a singer, any of those things, anything that's about the creativity, even if it's just because you want to just know how to be able to freely express your creativity, you don't have to go into a career. I'm here for those that just really want to finally, it's like, to thy own self true. Know thyself. That's what I'm here for. And it's like acting and revealing is this kind of a label that's been put on it so that people get an idea what this is all about.
Okay, one last question that came to me. Thank you so much for saying that. That really, you know, that summed it up, all your work and everything. One last question. Neeta Naturals. Tell me about something, Neeta Naturals.
Tell you something about it?
About Neeta Naturals. You know me since I started it, and you've seen me through it, and you have witnessed my journey. So you have tried the product. So tell me about it.
Well, the thing that, you know, why I enjoy her products is, we had this conversation earlier, but your listeners weren't listening then. Her products are made from the essence of the plant, the herb, you know, what I was sharing with her, there's some other products out there that they say that they're 100% natural, but I'm like, oh my gosh, it just like, it lingers, and I don't want that lingering. And she said, that's because they're using perfume. I'm like,
anytime that you're using fragrance in your product, if you are smelling, if that smell lingers for 8 or 10 hours to you, that product has to have fragrance in it. And I don't use any fragrance.
I use perfume. That wasn't what she said. She used fragrance. So the thing that I love about her products is, it's like, it was there, and it's just like, you know, because once again, those are the 5 minerals. She's using the minerals. And so I'm breathing that in. I'm spritzing my face, and I'm just like, and it's in the moment. It's not like moment, 24 hours later moment, because then that's not the moment. So it's just like, yeah. And I've seen her, and I've helped record, you know, some of her sessions, and everything is really coming from a place of her expressing the essence that she is, and she truly wants for you to be able to enjoy that from a place of, I like the word pristine, okay? It's pristine. It hasn't been altered. It hasn't been harmed. So it's still in its essence. When you're using it for the external, you know, use, it's still in its essence. It hasn't been harmed, and that's so important.
Yes, and beauty is, even though that beauty is not skin deep, we still need to protect our skin from the
Absolutely.
environment, from the, you know, all that harmful things that we come in contact to. So we need to protect.
Absolutely. I agree. It's like the skin's, you know, yay, thank you for thinking about me, you know.
You're gonna be living in this skin for a long time, so you better take care of it.
Well, the truth is, as soul, those cells you're gonna have new cells every moment. That's the thing. When you truly just start being soul, if you will, 24/7, because soul doesn't have time, it's gonna be amazing. It doesn't mean that the body doesn't want, you know, to enjoy, you know, the essence that it is, because all you're sharing the essence that you are as soul, those 5 elements, you're sharing that with the essence that you are. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for not putting any chemicals in your products or harming the ingredients that you use. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Liva. Thank you. And I appreciate you and I appreciate your time, really. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I appreciate our fellowship. Thank you, Neeta.
Namaste.
Thank you.